I've been sitting with this feeling for a few weeks now, and it's like this heavy, cold stone in the pit of my stomach that just won't go away. You know that feeling when you start to realize the people you care about most might actually be the ones draining the life out of you? It's confusing because on paper, everything should be fine. We're in high school, we're supposed to be navigating the typical drama, but this feels deeper. It feels like I'm losing my footing in a friendship that I thought was my anchor. For the last 2 years, S and I have been inseparable. We were that pair, the kind of friends who have their own language, who know exactly what the other is thinking with just a single look. Then there's A. The three of us became this tight-knit trio, and honestly, it worked. For a long time, it really worked. Then S and A started dating. Now, I want to be clear right off the bat, I don't care that they're dating. I really don't. I'm happy for them truly. I'm not the jealous friend who wants to break them up or who feels like my spot is being taken. But what I didn't expect was how the entire atmosphere of our friendship would shift like a house, settling into a foundation that was never quite level to begin with. Lately, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells every time I open my mouth, and it's becoming exhausting. It all started to come to a head recently when S sat me down for what felt like a performance review of our friendship. She told me with this very serious, almost hurt expression that she felt like I was being mean to her. She used the word targeting. She said I was picking on her and saying things that rubbed her the wrong way. I was completely blindsided. I remember looking at her and trying to replay every conversation we'd had in the last week, searching for where I could have possibly crossed a line. One of the examples she brought up was this stupid throwaway comment I made about a piece of Japanese candy. We were hanging out and I had this candy I really liked, and when she tried it and hated it, I jokingly told her she was uncultured. It was a joke. It was the kind of banter we've had for 2 years. In my head, we were just playing. We've always pushed each other's buttons in a lighthearted way. It was part of our dynamic. But she looked at me and said she thought I was being serious. She said it hurt her feelings. I felt this immediate rush of guilt because the last thing I ever want to do is make my best friend feel small. I apologized immediately. I told her I was just being lighthearted, that I didn't mean anything by it, and that I would try to be more mindful of my tone in the future. I meant it too. I started monitoring myself, filtering my thoughts before they reached my lips, trying to make sure I wasn't accidentally targeting her again. But the weirdest part of that whole conversation was when I turned to A, her girlfriend, to get a second opinion. I asked A, "Hey, when I tease S, does it come across as mean to you?" And A, without hesitation, agreed that it always sounds like a joke. She told S right there that she never thought I was being serious. So here I am being told by one best friend that I'm being a bully while the other best friend, who is literally dating her, says I'm just being me. It left me in this strange limbo of self-doubt. Am I the problem, or is the dynamic shifting in a way that I can't control? But as the days went by, that guilt started to curdle into something else. It started to turn into frustration. Because as I was being hyper aware of everything I said to S, I started noticing that she wasn't extending that same courtesy to me. In fact, she was doing the exact same thing she accused me of doing, but on a much more intense level. S has this habit of making jokes that genuinely make me uncomfortable. Sometimes they're racist jokes, which for some reason she thinks are fine, and other times they're just remarks that are designed to gross me out or make me feel weird. There have been multiple times where I've looked at her and said, "Hey, can you stop? I don't like that." And do you know what she does? She ignores me. Or she'll shrug and say something like, "I don't really care. It's not me, it's affecting." It's gotten to the point where I don't even fight it anymore. I just forced a laugh and moved on because if I made a scene, I'd be the mean one again. I remember one specific afternoon in the school cafeteria. I was eating one of those gross school burritos, you know, the ones where the cheese is a weird color and everything is just a little too oily. As I was eating, S pointed at it and made this graphic comment about how the cheese looked like, well, like swimmers or sperm. It was disgusting. I lost my appetite immediately. I told her it was gross and asked her to stop, but she just said it again later, laughing like it was the funniest thing in the world. That's when it started to click for me. There is a massive double standard happening here. She can say whatever she wants to me, no matter how much it grosses me out or makes me feel self-conscious, but the moment I make a joke about candy, I'm targeting her. Another time, I was talking about something I actually enjoyed, a food I thought was good, and she just looked at it with this expression of pure disgust and said, "Ew." It sounds small, I know. It's just a you. But when it happens constantly, it starts to wear you down. It makes you feel like your opinions and your tastes are somehow wrong. When I told her that her constant youing made me feel self-conscious, she didn't apologize. She didn't say she'd try to be mindful. She just told me, "It's just my opinion." That seems to be her shield for everything. It's just my opinion. She uses it to justify saying whatever she wants regardless of how it lands on the people around her. It happened again when she started talking about someone I really enjoy spending time with. She started calling them annoying and going off on how much she disliked them. I was sitting right there, and it felt like a slap in the face because she knew I liked this person. When I finally got annoyed and told her to stop saying that in front of me, she got upset. She doubled down, telling me it was okay for her to have opinions on people, even if they were my friends. I wasn't saying she couldn't have an opinion. I was just asking for a shred of respect to not trash talk someone I care about while I'm sitting 2 feet away. But the moment I pushed back, she got pouty. She got pissed. And that's the pattern. If I do anything she does, she reacts like I've deeply wounded her. But when I'm the one being hurt, I'm just supposed to take it. What really kills me, though, is the double standard involving A. Since they started dating, it's like there's a completely different set of rules for her than there is for me. I get it, they're in a relationship. I expect there to be a special bond there, a level of intimacy that I don't share with either of them. But it's reached a point where it's just bizarre. S will let A say the exact same things to her that I get in trouble for. If A makes a teasing comment or a joke that's a little edgy, S laughs it off or blushes. But if I say the same thing suddenly, I'm targeting her again. It's like I'm being graded on a curve where I'm always failing no matter how hard I try to follow the rules she set. And the interruptions. Oh, the interruptions are what really start to grate on my nerves. There have been so many times lately where the three of us are sitting together maybe at lunch or just hanging out after school, and I'll be in the middle of telling a story. Sometimes it's just something funny that happened in class, but other times it's something serious, something I really need to get off my chest. And right in the middle of my sentence, S will just cut me off. She'll completely ignore what I'm saying to start messing around with A, or to whisper something in her ear, or to start some play fight. It's the most dismissive feeling in the world. It's like being a ghost in your own friend group. I'll just stop talking, my voice trailing off into the air, and wait to see if she even notices that she stopped me. She never does. A notices, though. I can see it in A's eyes, that flicker of realization that, oh, we just ignored our friend look. Sometimes A will try to bring it back to me asking, wait, what were you saying? But by then the moment is gone. The energy is killed. I usually just shrug and say, it's nothing, and then I sit there in silence while they exist in their own little bubble. It's a special kind of lonely to be sitting right next to your two best friends and feel completely invisible. We usually hang out as a trio unless one of us is out of town or unless they go off on a specific date. But even when it's supposed to be our time, S is never really there. She is constantly habitually checking her phone to text A, even when A is sitting right there or if they've only been apart for 5 minutes. I'll be trying to have a conversation with her, looking her in the eye, and she'll be looking down at a screen and her thumbs flying across the keyboard. I've started asking myself lately, why does she even bother hanging out with me if I'm so mean to her and if she'd rather be talking to A every second of every day anyway? What am I even doing here? It feels like I'm just a placeholder, someone to fill the space, so they don't have to be alone with each other 24/7, or maybe just someone for S to vent her frustrations onto. All of this has been building up inside me like steam in a pressure cooker. I'm a person who values harmony. I hate conflict, so for the longest time, I just hid it. I swallowed the annoyance, I laughed off the swimmer jokes, I ignored the you comments about my food. I did it because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to be the reason our group fell apart. But now that she's come to me acting like the victim, telling me that my behavior is the problem, it's like something snapped. The hypocrisy is what's truly exhausting. Whenever she does something that upsets me and I actually gather the courage to mention it, she has an arsenal of excuses ready. The most common one is that she's stressed or just not in a good mood, and every time she says it, I want to scream. Because newsflash, I'm stressed too. We're all stressed. But I don't use my bad mood as a weapon to take out on the people I supposedly love. What she doesn't seem to grasp, or maybe she just doesn't care, is what my life looks like the moment I leave that school building. She doesn't have the same weight on her shoulders that I do. When I go home, I don't go to a sanctuary. I go to a battlefield. I'm getting into screaming matches with my mom almost every other day. It's not just typical teen stuff either. She degrades me. She says things that make me feel completely worthless, like I'm a burden or a failure. I spend my evenings trying to keep my head above water, emotionally dealing with a home life that feels like it's constantly crumbling. Then on top of that, I have my extracurriculars activities that take up my time and energy, things that S doesn't even do. By the time I get to school the next morning, I'm already running on empty. I'm looking for a shred of support, a place where I can just breathe and be myself without being judged or yewed at. But instead, I walk into a friendship that feels like a second job. I have to manage S's moods, I have to watch my words so I don't trigger her pouty phase, and I have to deal with being the third wheel to a relationship that seems to have rewritten the rules of our entire social circle. It's mentally draining in a way that's hard to describe. It's a slow leak. You don't notice how much you've lost until you try to stand up and realize you have no strength left. I'm tired of being the one who apologizes. I'm tired of being the one who hides their feelings to keep the peace while she gets to broadcast every minor grievance she has with me. I've been sitting in my room lately just staring at my phone, seeing their names pop up in the group chat, and I feel this wave of anxiety. It shouldn't be like this. Friends are supposed to be your peace, not your problem. But every time I think about bringing it up, really bringing it up, not just a passing comment, I hesitate. Because I know how she'll react. She'll turn it around. She'll make me out to be the mean one again. She'll say I'm targeting her for being stressed. I feel trapped in this cycle of being the bad guy while being the one who's actually being stepped on. I love them, I really do. 2 years is a long time, and we've had good moments, real genuine moments where I felt like we were a family. But those moments are starting to feel like memories of a different life. Now I'm just confused. I'm irritated, I'm hurt, and I honestly don't know what to do next. Is this just what happens in high school? Do friendships just naturally turn into these weird lopsided power struggles? Or am I just the one who's letting it happen? The thing about high school is that you're stuck in this bubble where every small interaction feels like it's being broadcast on a giant screen for everyone to see. You can't just walk away. You see these people every single day in the hallways, in the cafeteria, in the classrooms where the air feels too thin, and the fluorescent lights hum just a little too loudly. For me, that hum has started to sound like a warning. Every time I see SNA walking toward me hand in hand, I feel this tightening in my chest. It's a physical reaction now, a bracing for impact. I'm waiting to see which version of S I'm going to get today. Is it the one who wants to be my best friend? Or is it the one who's going to spend the next 6 hours making me feel like everything I do is a personal affront to her existence? I think back to that burrito incident in the cafeteria a lot. It sounds so stupid when you say it out loud, getting upset over a joke about school food, but it wasn't about the burrito. It was about the look in her eyes when she said it. We were sitting at our usual table, the same one we've occupied for 2 years. The plastic chairs were scraping against the floor and the room was a roar of voices. I was starving. I'd had a rough morning. My mom had spent breakfast telling me that I was lazy, that my grades weren't good enough, that I was going to end up nowhere if I didn't change my entire personality. I just wanted to eat my lunch and be with my friends. I took a bite of that burrito, and yes, it was gross, but it was all I had. And then S said it. She didn't just say it once. She leaned in a smirk, playing on her lips, and compared the cheese to something so graphic and disgusting that I could actually feel my stomach turn. I dropped the food back onto the tray. I told her, Ez, seriously stop. That's actually disgusting. I'm trying to eat. She didn't apologize. She didn't even look guilty. She just laughed and said it again, louder this time, making sure A heard it too. She wanted the reaction. She wanted to see me squirm. And when I finally just pushed the tray away, my appetite completely gone, she rolled her eyes and told me I was being too sensitive. Too sensitive. Those two words are the ultimate weapon in a friendship like this. They shift the blame from the person being a jerk to the person who's actually hurt. It makes you feel like your emotions are a defect. It makes you feel like you're the one who's wrong for having a boundary. And the kicker is, if I had said that to her, if I had made a joke that grossed her out or made her feel uncomfortable while she was having a bad day, she would have gone silent. She would have pouted for hours, giving me the cold shoulder until I practically begged for her forgiveness. I've started to realize that our friendship has become a one-way street. I'm the one doing all the traffic directing, making sure she doesn't get upset, making sure I'm being mindful, while she's just driving a bulldozer over everything I care about. Take the uncultured comment. I've replayed that moment 1,000 times in my head. We were trying this Japanese candy. I'd bought something I was really excited to share with her. When she made a face and said it was gross, I laughed and said, "Oh, you're just uncultured?" It was such a light, silly moment. At least it was for me. But to her, it was an attack. She held onto that for days, letting it fester until she could use it as a reason to tell me I was mean. I apologized because I care about her. I apologized because I don't want to be the person who makes their friends feel bad. But then I look at how she treats the things I like. I'll show her a song I love or a person I enjoy talking to, and she'll just shut it down with an ew or a, "they're so annoying." And when I try to explain why that hurts, she hides behind her opinions. I'm allowed to have an opinion. She'll say, her voice getting that sharp defensive edge. It's such a hollow argument. Of course you're allowed to have an opinion, but as a friend, aren't you also supposed to have a filter? Aren't you supposed to care that your opinion is hurting the person sitting right in front of you? It feels like she's using her honesty as a shield to be unkind. She wants the freedom to say whatever pops into her head, but she doesn't want me to have the freedom to react to it. And then there's A. A is caught in this weird middle ground, and honestly, I feel bad for her sometimes. I can see her watching us, her eyes darting back and forth like she's watching a tennis match she didn't sign up for. When S is being particularly harsh to me, A stays quiet. I think she's afraid to speak up, afraid that if she defends me, S will turn that same critical lens on her. And I get it. I do. Being in a relationship with someone like S must be like walking through a minefield. You never know what's going to set her off. But it hurts that A doesn't say more. It hurts that she'll tell me in private that I'm just joking. But in the moment when S is accusing me of being a bully, A just sits there. It makes me feel like I'm losing both of them. It's like they've formed this tiny two-person alliance, and I'm just the outsider they occasionally let into the bunker. The interruptions are the worst part of that outsider feeling. I'll be talking about something that's actually bothering me, maybe a fight I had with my mom the night before, something that left me feeling raw and shaky. I'll be right in the middle of a sentence trying to explain how it felt when my mom said I was a disappointment, and S will just interrupt. She'll see a dog across the street, or she'll remember a TikTok she wanted to show A, and she'll just start talking over me. She doesn't even say, "sorry for interrupting." She just takes over the airwaves. And I'm left sitting there with my half-finished sentence hanging in the air like a ghost. It makes me feel like my life, my problems, and my voice are just background noise to her. I'm the B-plot in her movie. I'm the supporting character who's only there to move her story forward. I think what really pushed me over the edge, though, was the texting. We'll finally get a chance to hang out just the two of us, which is rare these days. And within 5 minutes, her phone is out. She's texting A. She's smiling at her screen, laughing at jokes I'm not part of, while I'm sitting 3 feet away trying to tell her about my day. I've started staying silent during those moments just to see how long it takes her to notice. Sometimes minutes go by. The silence stretches out between us, heavy and awkward, but she doesn't feel it. She's somewhere else. She's with A even when she's standing right in front of me. It makes me wonder why she even invited me in the first place. Is it just so she isn't alone? Am I just a body in the room so she doesn't have to face her own thoughts? It's a specific kind of exhaustion, the kind that sleep can't fix. It's the mental drain of constantly performing for someone who isn't even watching. I go home and I'm degraded by my mother, and then I go to school and I'm dismissed by my best friend. There's no safe harbor. There's no place where I can just be without having to defend my existence or apologize for my personality. She says she's stressed. She says she's in a bad mood. But what about me? Where is the space for my stress? Where is the room for my bad days? It feels like I've spent 2 years building a house for our friendship, but S is the only one who gets to live in it. I'm just the one left outside in the rain, making sure the roof doesn't leak on her. And now she's telling me that I'm the one making her feel a certain way. The irony is so thick I can almost taste it. It's like she's holding a mirror up to me, but the reflection is distorted. She's seeing all my flaws in 4K resolution, while hers are completely blurred out. I don't know how much longer I can keep hiding how much this is hurting me. I don't know how much longer I can keep the lid on this pressure cooker before it finally explodes. The pressure cooker didn't just start whistling yesterday. It's been building up for months, fueled by the contrast between my life at school and my life at home. You see, I think S assumes that when I leave her side, I just go home to a vacuum, a place where I can reset and come back fresh the next morning to be her punching bag. She has no idea. Or maybe she does and she just doesn't care. That's the thought that keeps me up at night staring at the ceiling while the muffled sound of my mother's voice echoes through the walls. My home isn't a place of rest. It's a place where I'm constantly told I'm not enough. My mom, she has this way of looking at me like I'm a problem she can't solve. Every other day, it's a new fight. It starts over something small, a dish left in the sink, a grade that wasn't a perfect A the way I'm sitting, and it spirals into a full-scale assault on my character. She degrades me. She tells me I'm worthless, that I'm ungrateful, that I'm a burden. I spend my evenings trying to shrink myself, trying to become invisible so I don't trigger another outburst. I'm already emotionally bruised before I even step foot on campus. So when I get to school, I'm looking for air. I'm looking for my best friend, the person who's supposed to be my person. But instead of a sanctuary, I find a friend who is mentally draining me in a completely different way. It's like jumping out of a fire and into a freezing lake. One environment burns me, and the other just numbs me until I can't feel my own limbs. I remember one afternoon after a particularly brutal morning at home. I walked into the school building feeling like I was made of glass. One wrong move, one loud noise, and I was going to shatter. I found S&A near the lockers. I wanted to tell them. I wanted to say, hey, I'm really struggling right now. My mom said some things that are really messing with my head. I wanted that comfort you only get from people who have known you for years. But before I could even get a word out, S started in on me. She had this annoyed look on her face because I was 2 minutes late meeting them. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't notice the redness around my eyes. Instead, she started talking about how stressed she was because of a project she hadn't started yet. She went on and on about her bad mood, using it as a hall pass to be snappy and irritable. I sat there listening to her complain about a minor school assignment while the echoes of my mother calling me a failure were still ringing in my ears. I felt this surge of bitterness. I wanted to grab her by the shoulders and say, "You think you're stressed? You have no idea what real stress feels like." But I didn't. I did what I always do. I hid it. I tucked my trauma away in a little box and shoved it into the back of my mind so I could be the supportive friend S demands me to be. That's the thing about S, she occupies all the space in the room. There's no room for my feelings because hers are always louder, more urgent, more valid in her mind. And if I ever try to bring up my own life, she has this way of making it about her. If I say I'm tired because of my extracurriculars, those activities I do after school that she doesn't even touch, she'll tell me I'm lucky to be so busy, or she'll find a way to make her boredom sound more tragic than my exhaustion. I'm balancing a lot. I have these extra activities that keep me at school late into the evening. I'm trying to build a future for myself, trying to find a way out of the house I'm living in. I'm running on a treadmill that's set to the highest speed, and I'm doing it while carrying the weight of my mother's words. S. She doesn't have those commitments. She goes home and has the freedom I can only dream of. Yet she's the one who is too stressed to be kind. She's the one who uses her mood as an excuse to ignore my boundaries. It makes me feel so small. It makes me feel like my struggle doesn't count. I think about the way she treats my interests again. It's not just the you at my food, it's the you at my life. If I talk about a person I enjoy talking to at my after-school program, she'll immediately find a reason to call them annoying. I remember specifically telling her about a new friend I'd made in my drama club. I was excited. This person actually listened to me, they didn't interrupt, and they made me feel like I had something valuable to say. S didn't even let me finish the story. She made a face, that classic S pout, and said, "Ugh, I've seen them around. They seem so stuck up. I don't know why you'd want to talk to someone like that." I felt that familiar sting of annoyance. I told her, "Actually, they're really nice. You don't even know them." And then came the doubling down. "I don't need to know them to have an opinion," she snapped. "It's okay for me to dislike people even if they're your friends. Why are you getting so defensive?" She turned it on me. Suddenly, I was the one being defensive and pissed off while she was just the honest friend. It was another moment where I realized that I'm not allowed to have anything that belongs just to me. My friends have to be approved by her. My interests have to be validated by her. If she doesn't like it, it's annoying or gross. But if I dare to joke about a piece of candy, I'm the bully. I'm starting to see that this isn't just a misunderstanding, it's a power dynamic. S needs to be the victim because the victim is the one who gets to hold the remote control. If she's the one who's hurt, she's the one who gets to set the rules. If she's the one who's stressed, she's the one who gets to be excused from being a decent human being. But I'm the one who is actually being drained. I'm the one who goes home to a mother who degrades me and then goes to school to a friend who dismisses me. It's like I'm being attacked on two fronts, and the middle ground, the place where I'm supposed to feel safe, is disappearing. I wonder if A sees it. I really do. Sometimes when S is being particularly dismissive, or when she's ignoring me to text A from 2 feet away, I see A look at me. It's a look of pity. And honestly, I think the pity hurts worse than the dismissiveness. It means A knows. It means she sees the way I'm being treated, and she's choosing to let it happen. She's choosing the relationship over the friendship, which I suppose is what people do, but it doesn't make the isolation any less cold. I've started to wonder what would happen if I just stopped. What if I stopped hiding my feelings? What if I stopped being the mindful one? What if I acted exactly like S acts? If I started viewing her interest and interrupting her stories to talk to someone else and telling her she was being too sensitive when she got upset? I know exactly what would happen. She would fall apart. She would tell everyone how mean I am, how I've changed, how I'm targeting her. The world would revolve around her pain, and I would be the villain in every version of the story. It's a trap. I'm trapped by her fragility and my own empathy. I don't want to hurt her, but by protecting her feelings, I'm slowly destroying my own. I'm becoming a shadow of the person I used to be, someone who is afraid to speak, afraid to joke, and afraid to even enjoy a burrito in peace. I'm just so tired. I'm tired of the fights at home, tired of the drama at school, and tired of feeling like I'm the only one who cares about keeping this friendship alive. It's a strange thing how a person can be right in front of you, literally breathing the same air, and yet feel like they're 1,000 miles away. That's how it is with S now. We'll be walking down the hallway, the three of us, and I'll look over at her. I see the way she tucks her hair behind her ear when she's looking at A. I see the way her eyes light up that genuine spark of affection. And then she looks at me and it's like a shutter clicks shut. The warmth vanishes, replaced by this cold analytical scrutiny. It's the look of someone who is waiting for you to trip up. She isn't looking at her best friend anymore. She's looking at a potential problem that needs to be managed. I remember when it wasn't like this. I remember when A and S first started talking. I was the one who encouraged them. I was the one who sat with S late into the night, listening to her talk about her crush, helping her decode text messages, giving her the courage to actually say something. I was the cheerleader for their relationship because I wanted my best friend to be happy. I thought that by helping them get together, I was strengthening our bond. I thought we were becoming a family. I didn't realize I was building the walls of my own prison. Now that same relationship is used as a yardstick to measure my worth. It's become this bizarre hierarchy where A is at the top, S is right there with her, and I'm somewhere down in the basement occasionally allowed up for air. S has developed this selective hearing that only activates when A is speaking. If A makes a joke, even a mean one, the kind that S would lecture me about for an hour, S just giggles. She leans into A, taps her on the arm, and tells her she's so bad. But when I try to join in, when I use the same tone, the same vocabulary, the same lighthearted ribbing we've used for 2 years, S stiffens. Her posture changes. She'll give me this look of profound disappointment and say, "That was really unnecessary." Or, "Why are you always like this?" It makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. It's gaslighting in its purest form. You start to question your own reality when two people are doing the exact same thing, but only one of them is being punished for it. I find myself rehearsing conversations in my head before they even happen, trying to find the safe version of a sentence. I'll think, okay, if I say this, will she think I'm targeting her? If I mention this person, will she call them annoying? By the time I actually speak, the words feel stale and heavy. The spontaneity is gone. The joy is gone. The most frustrating part is the pouting. S has mastered the art of the silent protest. If I do something she doesn't like, which, let's be honest, is almost everything these days, she doesn't just tell me. She goes into this pouty mode. Her lower lip literally moves forward, her shoulders slump, and she gives me these short, one-word answers. She makes sure everyone in the vicinity knows she's upset, but she won't say why until she's milked the situation for every drop of sympathy she can get. I've spent so many lunch periods trying to fix her mood. I'll ask her what's wrong, I'll offer to buy her a snack, I'll try to make a joke to break the ice. And she'll just sit there looking tragic while A hovers over her, rubbing her back and giving me these confused, slightly accusatory looks. It's like a scene from a bad soap opera, and I'm the uncredited extra who accidentally walked onto the set. And the whole time I'm thinking about my mom. I'm thinking about the fight we had that morning, the one where she told me I was the reason she was always stressed, that I was a mental drain on the whole family. I'm thinking about the fact that I have to go home to that in 3 hours. I'm thinking about the drama club rehearsal I have after school where I have to be on and energetic and creative for 3 hours straight while my soul feels like it's been through a paper shredder. I don't have the luxury of pouting. If I pouted, my mom would give me a reason to really cry. If I pouted, I'd lose my lead in the play. I have to keep moving. I have to be strong. But SS has the freedom to be fragile. She has the luxury of being stressed by nothing while I'm being crushed by everything. There was this one day, it was raining, one of those gray, miserable Tuesday afternoons where the school feels like a damp basement. I was exhausted. I'd stayed up until 2 a.m. finishing a history paper because I'd been at my extracurriculars until 9, and then I'd had to deal with my mom's degrading comments for an hour after that. I was barely holding it together. I was sitting in the hallway with S and A, and I was actually trying to tell them a serious story. It was about something a teacher had said to me, something that had really hurt my confidence. I was being vulnerable, I was opening up, and right as I got to the point, right as I was about to say how it made me feel, S's phone buzzed. She didn't even look at me. She didn't say, wait, hold that thought. She just picked up her phone, saw it was a text from A who was, I repeat, sitting right there, and they started a private conversation about a meme. They started laughing. They started leaning into each other, their heads touching, completely forgetting I was even in the room. I just stopped talking. I sat there with my mouth half open, the words, I felt so small, still stuck in my throat. I waited for one of them to look up. I waited for S to realize she'd just cut me off in the middle of a vulnerable moment. But she didn't. She just kept scrolling her thumbs, tapping away on the screen, her world completely filled by A. In that moment, I felt this cold realization wash over me. I'm not her best friend anymore. I'm a ghost she's grown used to seeing in the corner of her eye. I'm a piece of furniture that she started to find inconvenient. It's the most isolating feeling in the world to have 2 years of history, 2 years of secrets and laughter and shared dreams, and to realize it's being traded in for the new car smell of a relationship. I'm happy they're happy, I really am. But why does their happiness have to come at the expense of my dignity? Why does S get to use her relationship as a weapon to make me feel like I'm the mean one, the annoying one, the one who's always rubbing her the wrong way? I'm so tired of hiding it. I'm so tired of being the bigger person. I'm getting it from both sides at home. I'm the failure, and at school, I'm the bully. There is no version of the world where I am just okay. There is no version of the world where I am allowed to just exist without being a problem for someone else to solve. I've started to look at S and wonder if she even knows who I am anymore. Does she remember the person who helped her through her first breakup? Does she remember the person who stayed up with her when she was failing math? Or does she just see a mean girl who jokes about Japanese candy? It's like she's rewritten our entire history to fit this new narrative where she's the victim and I'm the antagonist. And I don't know how to fight that. How do you argue with someone's opinion of you, especially when they use that opinion to shut down every conversation? How do you tell someone they're hurting you when they've already claimed the title of the hurt one? It feels like a losing battle, and honestly, I'm starting to run out of reasons to keep fighting it. The hardest part of all this, the thing that really keeps me awake at night, is the way she handles the things that actually matter. It's one thing to bicker about candy or to feel ignored during a conversation, but it's another thing entirely when your boundaries are treated like suggestions. There's a specific kind of hurt that comes from telling your best friend, hey, that makes me uncomfortable, and having them look you in the eye and say, I don't care. I mentioned that S makes jokes sometimes that cross a line. They aren't just edgy. Some of them are flat out racist or just deeply inappropriate. Now look, I'm not some moral crusader. In the past, I've been able to roll with the punches, and we've all had those moments where we say something stupid in private, but there have been times lately where she says things that genuinely make my skin crawl. I'll tell her, S, seriously, stop doing that. It's not funny, and it makes me feel weird. And do you know what her response is? She doesn't apologize. She doesn't say, oh, my bad, I didn't realize it bothered you. She just shrugs her face completely blank and says, I don't really care. It's not me it's affecting. So what's the big deal? That sentence haunts me. It's not me it's affecting. It's the ultimate admission of selfishness. It's her saying that as long as she's comfortable, as long as she's entertained, my feelings are completely irrelevant. I've had to learn to just laugh it off, to swallow that lump of coal in my throat and pretend I'm fine with it. Because if I push back, I'm the one causing drama. I'm the one being mean to her. It's a total reversal of reality. I'm being forced to witness and participate in things that go against my character, all to protect her fragile ego. It's the same thing with the way she treats my interests. It sounds petty to talk about food, but it's about the underlying lack of respect. I'll be sitting there finally having a moment where I feel good, eating something I actually like, and she'll look at it and just say, ew. She says it with this visceral disgust like I'm eating garbage. When I tell her that it makes me feel self-conscious, she doesn't back down. She tells me it's just her opinion. But she doesn't stop at food. She does it with people too. There's someone I've started talking to recently, someone outside of our little trio. They're kind, they're funny, and honestly they're a breath of fresh air compared to the suffocating atmosphere S has been creating lately. I was telling S and A about a conversation I had with this person, feeling a little spark of genuine happiness for the first time in a while. S didn't even wait for me to finish. She cut in and started talking about how annoying this person is, how she can't stand them, how they have a weird vibe. I felt my stomach drop. I was annoyed. No, I was pissed. I told her, look, I really enjoy talking to them. Can you please not say that in front of me? You don't have to like them, but you don't have to trash them while I'm standing right here. Instead of saying, sorry, I'll keep it to myself, she doubled down. She got upset with me. She started lecturing me about how it's okay to have opinions and how I was trying to control what she could say. I wasn't telling her she couldn't have an opinion. I was asking for a basic level of social grace. But to S, my request for respect was an attack on her freedom. It's this constant cycle of I can do whatever I want because it's my opinion versus you can't do anything because it might hurt my feelings. And while I'm navigating this minefield at school, the situation at home is only getting worse. Every day I walk through my front door, I'm bracing myself. My mom has this way of making me feel like I'm taking up too much space. She'll look at me and find a reason to pick a fight. She'll bring up my grades or my attitude or the way I help or don't help around the house. But it's not constructive, it's degrading. She'll say things that make me feel like I'm fundamentally broken, like I'm a disappointment she's forced to live with. I'm fighting for my life at home, emotionally speaking. I'm trying to keep my head up, trying to stay focused on my extracurriculars and my future, but I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. And when I go to school, I'm looking for a friend who can be my anchor. I'm looking for S to be the person who says, I've got you. You're not what she says you are. Instead, S is just another person telling me I'm not good enough. She's another person telling me I'm mean or too much or wrong. She'll use her stress as an excuse for her behavior, completely oblivious to the fact that I'm carrying 10 times the weight she is. She doesn't have a mother who makes her feel worthless. She doesn't have the after-school commitments that leaves me getting home at 9 p.m. only to start hours of homework in a house that feels like a war zone. She'll say, I'm just in a bad mood, and expect me to be her emotional support animal. But if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm quiet, because I'm trying not to cry about what my mom said that morning, she takes it personally. She thinks I'm being moody, or that I'm targeting her with my silence. It's a complete lack of empathy. It's like she's the sun and everything else, my home life, my other friends, my feelings, is just a planet that's supposed to orbit around her. And AA is just another moon caught in her gravity. I see A noticing the interruptions. I see A noticing when S texts her while I'm talking. A will sometimes try to bridge the gap, but she's dating S. She's always going to choose S. She's always going to take her side in the end, or at the very least, she's going to stay silent while S treats me like I'm invisible. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm hiding all this irritation, all this hurt, all this simmering anger, just so I won't hurt her feelings. I'm being the good friend while she's being whatever she's being, but the more I hide it, the more it eats at me. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. I don't know how to bridge this gap. If I tell her everything, if I really lay it out and tell her how hypocritical she's being, how much she drains me and how much I'm struggling at home, she'll just find a way to make it about her. She'll say I'm attacking her. She'll use her stress as a shield. I'm just so confused. I've been her best friend for 2 years. I love her, or at least I love the person I thought she was. But this version of her, this version that uses her relationship to alienate me, that ignores my boundaries, and that treats my life like it's a minor inconvenience, I don't know if I can keep being friends with this version. I don't know if I have enough energy left to keep both of us afloat while I'm drowning in my own life. It's getting to the point where I dread school. I dread the cafeteria. I dread the walk to the lockers. And that breaks my heart because those used to be the only places where I felt like I could actually be myself. Now I'm just a guest in S&A's world, and I'm pretty sure my invitation is about to expire. I've started to realize that the silence between us isn't just an absence of noise anymore. It's become a weapon. There's a specific kind of quiet that happens when I'm sitting with S&A, and it's not the comfortable silence of three people who know each other so well they don't need to speak. It's a heavy, deliberate silence that says I'm not part of the conversation even when I'm the one who started it. It's the silence that follows whenever S interrupts me or whenever she turns her back to me to whisper something into A's ear. It's a wall, and every day S adds another brick to it. I think back to why I do those extracurricular activities after school. S doesn't do them. She goes home or hangs out with A. To her, my activities are just extra stuff that makes me busy, or maybe something I do just to feel superior. But for me, they are my lifeline. When I'm in that drama club or working on a project, I'm not the mean friend, and I'm not the disappointment daughter. I'm just a person with a job to do, and people actually listen to me there. They don't you at my ideas. They don't tell me I'm being too sensitive when I have a suggestion. But S doesn't see it that way. She sees my activities as a personal slight against her. If I can't hang out because I have a rehearsal, she'll get that pouty look and make a comment about how I'm never around anymore. It's another one of her double standards. She can spend every waking second texting A or being with A, but if I dare to have a life that doesn't revolve around her, I'm the one who is abandoning the friendship. It's reaching a breaking point because I can feel myself starting to resent her. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the friend who keeps a tally of every wrong, every slight, and every hypocritical comment. But how can I not? When you're being drained of every bit of emotional energy you have, you start to notice exactly where it's going. It's going into the void of S's ego. I remember a specific moment a few days ago. We were all sitting in the hallway before first period. I was actually having a decent morning for once. My mom had been quiet, and I felt like I had a little bit of my old self back. I brought a small bag of that Japanese candy again, the same kind she'd called me mean for targeting her with before. I didn't say a word about it. I just opened the bag and offered some to A. A took a piece and said, "Oh, I actually really like these." I smiled, feeling a bit of that old trio bond returning. But then I looked at S. She was staring at the bag with this look of pure contempt. She didn't say anything at first, just sat there with her arms crossed. Finally, she sighed, one of those long dramatic sighs that's meant to draw a question out of you. When I didn't ask what was wrong, she just said, "I can't believe you brought those again. You know they gross me out. It feels like you're doing it on purpose, just to annoy me." I was stunned. I wasn't even talking to her about the candy. I was sharing it with A. I said, "S, I'm not doing anything to you. I'm just eating a snack." "It's the principle," she snapped. "You know my opinion on them and you're just flaunting it? You're being mean." And there it was. The M word, mean. It's her favorite label for me. It doesn't matter that she makes jokes about swimmers while I'm eating, or that she tells me my friends are annoying, or that she ignores me for her girlfriend. In her world, those are just opinions. But me eating candy she doesn't like, that's an act of war. I looked at A, hoping she would say something. A looked down at the candy in her hand, then at S, and then at the floor. She didn't say a word. She just quietly put the candy back in the bag and started scrolling on her phone. She chose the path of least resistance. She chose to let S win, even though she knew S was being ridiculous. And in that moment, I felt a piece of our friendship just snap. I realized then that S doesn't want a best friend. She wants an audience. She wants someone who will validate every mood swing, every irrational thought, and every insecurity while never asking for anything in return. She wants me to be the static background noise to her and A's romance, and the moment I try to be a real person with my own thoughts and snacks and feelings, I'm targeting her. The mental drain is becoming physical. I go home from school and I'm so exhausted I can barely move. I have to deal with my mom, who is still on her campaign to make me feel worthless, and then I have to do my homework, and then I have to think about how I'm going to navigate the cafeteria the next day without triggering S's pout. It's too much for one person to carry. She uses her stress as an excuse for everything, but she has no idea what it's like to be me. She doesn't know what it's like to have your home life be a constant source of degradation. She doesn't know what it's like to be told by your mother that you're a failure and then have your best friend tell you that you're a bully because you made a joke about candy. I feel like I'm being gaslit by my entire life. My mom tells me I'm bad and S tells me I'm mean. If everyone is saying the same thing, does that make it true? I've spent so many nights crying in my room wondering if I really am the problem. Maybe I am targeting her. Maybe I am a mean person. But then I think about all the times I've bitten my tongue. I think about all the times I've listened to her for hours while she ignored me. I think about all the times I've defended her to people who called her annoying, only for her to turn around and call my friends the same thing. A real bully doesn't spend their time worrying about whether they're being mean. A real bully doesn't hide their feelings to protect the person they're targeting. I'm starting to see that S is projecting. She feels guilty for how she's treating me, or maybe she's just so absorbed in her own drama that she needs to create a villain to justify her bad moods. And I'm the easiest target. I'm the one who is always there. I'm the one who cares enough to apologize. But I'm reaching the end of my rope. I can feel the hide it phase of my frustration starting to wear thin. Every time she interrupts me now, I feel this heat rising in my chest. Every time she texts A while I'm speaking, I have to clench my teeth to keep from saying something I'll regret. I'm tired of being the only one who cares about the three of us. I keep wondering what would happen if I just stopped. What if I stopped showing up to our table? What if I stopped texting the group chat? What if I just spent my time with the annoying people S hates? Would she even notice, or would she just be happy that she finally has A all to herself? It's a terrifying thought. 2 years is a long time to just walk away from. We have so many memories, the sleepovers where we laughed until we couldn't breathe, the secrets we whispered in the back of the bus, the way we promised we'd always be there for each other. But those girls don't exist anymore. S has replaced me with A, and she's replaced our friendship with this weird lopsided power struggle. I'm confused, I'm hurt, and honestly, I'm just really sad. I feel like I'm mourning someone who is still standing right in front of me. I don't know how to fix this, or even if I should fix it. If a friendship makes you feel this drained and this invisible, is it even a friendship anymore, or is it just a habit that you're too afraid to break? The breaking point didn't happen with a scream or a dramatic confrontation in the middle of the hallway. It happened in the quietest, most mundane moment possible. We were sitting in the library trying to study for finals. The air was thick with the smell of old paper and that specific brand of school-issued carpet cleaner. I was exhausted, truly bone-deep exhausted. My mom and I had been fighting until midnight, the night before, screaming matches about my future, about how I was wasting my potential, about how I was nothing more than a burden to her. I had maybe 4 hours of sleep and my head was pounding with a dull rhythmic throb. I was sitting there staring at my history textbook, just trying to make the words stay still. S was sitting across from me and A was next to her. For 20 minutes, the only sound was the scratch of pens and the occasional whisper between the two of them. I felt a tiny bit of peace, just a shred of it. I thought maybe today will be okay. Maybe we can just be students together. But then S sighed. It wasn't just a sigh, it was a groan of pure, unadulterated misery. She slammed her highlighter down on the table loud enough that the librarian gave us a warning look and slumped back in her chair. I literally cannot do this, she whispered, her voice cracking with forced drama. I am so stressed. I'm in such a bad mood. I feel like I'm going to have a breakdown. My life is just, it's too much right now. I looked up from my book. I felt this cold, hard knot of irritation tightening in my chest. I asked, "What's wrong? Is it the exam?" She rolled her eyes like I'd just asked the stupidest question on earth. "It's everything. I'm just overwhelmed. I didn't get enough sleep because I was texting A, and now I'm behind on my notes, and my mom asked me to clean my room this morning. I just feel like nobody understands how much pressure I'm under." I sat there frozen. I thought about the bruises on my spirit from my mother's words the night before. I thought about the 4 hours of sleep I'd gotten, not because I was texting a girlfriend, but because I was being told I was worthless. I thought about the 3 hours of drama rehearsal I had to go to after this while she got to go home and nap. I wanted to say it. I wanted to say, "S, your mom asked you to clean your room. My mom told me she wishes I was never born. You're tired because you were in love. I'm tired because I'm surviving. We are not the same." But I didn't. I just looked at her. And for the first time in 2 years, I didn't feel sorry for her. I didn't feel the need to comfort her. I didn't feel the urge to buy her a snack or tell her it would be okay. I just felt empty. "That sucks," I said. My voice was flat. No emotion, no edge, just nothing. S blinked. She wasn't used to that. She was used to me jumping through hoops to make her feel better. She leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "That's all you have to say? Wow. I tell you I'm struggling and you just give me a 'that sucks.' I guess you really are being mean lately. You're so dismissive of my feelings." There it was again. The projection. The moment she didn't get the exact reaction she wanted, I was the villain. I was the one targeting her by simply not having the energy to fix her minor inconveniences. I looked at A. I wanted to see if she saw the absurdity of it. A was looking at S with this expression of pure devotion, nodding along. "She's just stressed, guys," A said softly, trying to play peacemaker, but clearly siding with S. "We should all just be nice to each other." "I am being nice," I said, my voice rising just a fraction. "I'm sitting here, I'm listening, and I'm studying. I have my own stuff going on, S. I'm stressed too. I'm getting into fights at home every single day. I'm mentally drained. Can I just have one afternoon where I don't have to manage your mood?" The silence that followed was deafening. S's face went through 3 different stages of shock before settling on pouty victim. She didn't ask what was happening at my home. She didn't ask why I was mentally drained. She just gathered her things, her hands shaking with performed outrage. "I can't believe you'd use your problems to minimize mine," she whispered. "Just because you have things going on doesn't mean my stress isn't real. You're being so toxic right now." She stood up and walked out of the library. I hesitated for a second, looking at me with a flicker of what might have been sympathy, or maybe just awkwardness, before she stood up and followed her. I was left alone at the table. I sat there for a long time staring at the empty chairs. I realized that S's stress was a shield, but it was also a weapon. She used it to occupy all the emotional air in the room, leaving me to suffocate in the vacuum. She didn't want a friend who had problems. She wanted a friend who was a mirror reflecting back only the version of herself she wanted to see. I think about all the things she's done, the racist jokes she told me to ignore, the disgusting comments about my food, the way she interrupts me to talk to A, the way she texts A while I'm boating my heart out. All of those things were just her opinion or because she was stressed. But the moment I asked for a little bit of space for my own pain, I was toxic. I was mean. It's a lonely realization to have in a high school library, but it's also a freeing one. I'm starting to see that I don't have to stay in this cage. I'm getting it from my mom at home, and I'm getting it from S at school. I can't change my mom, not yet anyway. I'm stuck in that house until I graduate, but S, I don't have to be stuck with S. The mental drain she causes is something I'm choosing to allow. I've been hiding my irritation to protect her feelings, but who is protecting mine? Not her, not A, only me. I'm still confused about what happens next. When you've been best friends with someone for 2 years, you don't just unfriend them overnight. Our lives are intertwined. We have the same classes, the same lunch table, the same history, but I'm starting to think that the me she's friends with isn't actually me anymore. It's a version of me that I've shrunk and distorted to fit her needs. I want to know if I'm crazy for feeling this way. Is it normal for friendships to become this lopsided? Have any of you ever felt like you were the only one holding a friendship together, only to be told you're the one who's falling short? It's a confusing, painful place to be, and I honestly don't know if this friendship is worth the cost of my mental health. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you try to sit her down one last time and explain everything, knowing she'll probably just call you mean again? Or would you just start to fade out to find new people who don't you at the things you love? I'd really love to hear your thoughts, because right now I'm just a girl trying to survive high school and a broken home, and I'm starting to think I might be better off doing it without a best friend like S. If you've ever dealt with a friend who makes everything about them, let me know how you handled it, and if you want more stories about navigating these kinds of complicated relationships, make sure to subscribe so we can figure this out together. I'm going to go to my rehearsal now. I'm going to go to a place where I'm allowed to speak, where I'm allowed to have a voice, and where nobody tells me I'm being mean just for existing. For the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to it.